Morning. In last class, we discussed about some concepts like object identification, smart identification, how QTP collect the sum of the property values during learning, how do you configure to the QTP, what a property values it has to collect. These things we discussed. So far, whatever knowledge we got in QTP, with the help of that, you can able to write the script to perform the required transaction on application. Whether it can be user registration operation or insert operation or delete operation or login operation. So while execution time, if QTP got any problems to identify the web elements, how to rectify that, working on the object repository, different operations, how to reuse the test objects. Once I created one shared repository file, how I can associate to the required action scripts, associating shared repository files. Then we discussed about the how to update, how to compare, how to merge shared repository files. So these concepts we discussed. With the help of these concepts, where you can able to write the script for any environment, only to perform the required transactions. But that is not sufficient. Writing the only script to perform the transactions. After perform transaction, we need to write the script to verify the actual behavior of the application. I did login operation. Is it successful login operation or not? I need to check it. For that, I need to create the script. If I perform the user registration operation, successful user registration operation complete or not, we have to check it. Maybe there is some functional related to calculation. Output is correct or not, we have to check it. So this purpose, we have to do the enhancement in the script. Enhancement in the script. In that, we have to go for the some conditional statements we have to use. Output functions we have to use. Test object methods we have to use. Synchronization options we have to use. Parameterization we have to do. That comes under enhancement in the script. In that, first we are going to discuss some VB script. If I want to display the user message, so how we can write it? Like first one, output functions. You have to note down this. Output functions. So what is the intention of the output functions here? At the time of execution, some message your tool want to display. Your tool want to display some message. It can be your message or status of the test, pass or fail. Some output functions we have to use for that. Okay. Here we are going to use three types of output functions in QTP. One is message box, MSC. MSC box, Sima, first one take. Under one output function, first one message box. See, like this you take. Okay. It will display user message in a pop-up window. It will display user message in a pop-up window. It display user message in a pop-up window. Text syntax. MSG box of user message. MSG box of user message. Now you see my here. If I go for MSG box, I'm saying that it is a sample script. Another statement I'm going right here, message box. It is a demo session. Like these two statements are written where I am going to run it. When I try to run it is, you can see that it displays the user message in a pop-up window. it will wait at that statement only. Whenever you click on OK, you close this pop-up window, then only it will continue the remain script execution. Okay. When I use message box, it will display the user message in a pop-up window and it will wait until user click on OK button to continue the remain script execution. That's the message box, how it is going to work. Display user message and wait there only. Your interaction required to close this window to continue the remain script execution. Okay. But we may going to execute the number of test scripts in a sequence. At that time, as a test engineer, you are not going to sit in front of the system to close this type of pop-up windows. That's your problem. Because of that, message box is not that much preferred. Where we can go for the another function called, which they given in the QTP, print. Take next one, print. It will print user message in quick test print log window. Quick test print log window. Quick test print log window. Text syntax. Print of user message. Print of user message. Now in place of message box, if I use print, difference you have to understand. If I run it is, so it printed user message and it won't wait like message box. It continues the remain script execution. The difference, message box means it will wait until you close the pop-up window. But when I go for the print, it won't wait. It will print and continue the remain script execution. But now if I see that, first one I use print, second one I am going to use here message box. If I run, what will be the status I will get here? Result status. Any impact in my test result window? Either pass or fail like that? No. We have the status only done is there. If I use print or message box will not impact my test result window. Now if I go for Selenium TestNG to create the log, what we are going to use? Reporter.log we are going to use. Same way, here in VBScript also we have the report event method we have, which are going to use. Take third one, report event method. Report event no space more. Report event method. It will pass user message. It will pass user message into test result window. Into test result window along with step status. So which is common we are going to prefer this one, report event method. Because when you are going to do some validation, you need to maintain the result, pass or fail. For the report event method we are going to use. Text syntax, report event, report event, step status, step name, comma, step description, within bracket, square bracket, like image file path. Image file path. A square bracket represents there is an optional argument. It is not mandatory. Here, step status, step name, step description, image file path. Now here, what type of status we can pass into the test result window is there are 4 types of status we can pass. Passed, failed, done, warning. And the 4 types of status we can pass into the test result window. Take another. Whereas step status are whereas step status are 0 or MIC pass. 0 or MIC pass. Status is passed. 1 or MIC fail. Two or MIC done. Either one you can use. 0 or MIC pass. 1 or MIC fail. 2 or MIC done. Done. 3 or MIC warning. So warning message. MIC stands for Microsoft Integer Constant. MIC stands for Microsoft Integer Constant. Now schema here. Reported dot report event MIC pass demo step. Descriptions sample script. So step name is demo step. So purpose sample script I said. If I run it is test result window, we can find the impact. What is the status now? It is passed. Previously we done status. View expand on demo step. So sample script pass. I can go for like this, or else instead of going to MIC pass, you can give 0 also. Zero also going to consider pass like this. The 3 types of we have. Take second one, input function. Input function. Take in that first one is input box. Input box. What is the use of scanner class in Java? To read the keyboard inputs. Same way input box function here. Take to read user inputs. To read user input values or keyboard inputs during runtime. Take syntax. Syntax. variable name equal to input box of user message. Purpose same, syntax definitely going to vary language to language. Okay. Scanner class same like input box there. Variable name equal to input box of user message. Now you observe here. Directly we can use the variables in the we basically don't need to declare the variables. CNAME equal to input box of enter any name. CNAME equal to input box of enter any name. So here the value whatever I am going to store into the variable, I won't display that. I can go for the CNAME. If I run it is, you observe that the first line when it is executing, so you're going to get the one dialog box here. So enter any name. OK, cancel edit box. Now we have to enter the keyboard inputs. So suppose Karen I given. Click on OK. When I click on OK, this value will be stored into this variable. Next, I want to display that value, message box of CNAME. When I click on OK, the value has to be displayed. My inputs is going to read keyboard inputs. Whether we can go for the input box. In general, whenever we are going to give the values like this to execution time using input box function, this type of concept we are going to call dynamic data submission. This is called dynamic data submission. Dynamically, testing has to give the values to the script using keyboard. So there are other possibilities from the data table, Excel sheet we can take. So that is later, but this one input box function mainly when I are going to use, this is comes under dynamic data submission. Okay. This is what I given here. I will send these notes, but you have to take the running notes because script know a little bit more you are going to feel. That's why I'm asking that to take. In general, input box function used for dynamic data submission. That means to provide test data during runtime using keyboard. That's called dynamic data submission. I'm going to call. The interview could ask that how do you do the dynamic data submission? How do you do the dynamic data submission? You have to say using input box function. I can use for that. So we have the output functions 3. Message box, print, report the event method. Input box for input function is only one input box. To read the user inputs during runtime, we can go for the input box function. Now, next thing we have the conditional statements. Let us see here. A equal to 10 I assign. B equal to 20 I assign. I want to display like the message box. A having smaller value. If I run this program, all these 3 statements are going to execute or not? All 3 is going to execute. Send value, store the values. All 3 statements, but display message I given here last one. It displays for us. Now suppose here A value I may given 30 here. If I run it is all the statement again going to execute or not? Again going to execute. So A having smaller value is correct message as per the values here. Is the right message? No. When I want to execute this statement means if A have the less than B. In that case, I want to display that A having smaller value. That means whenever you want to execute some portion of script based on the particular condition true or false. In that case, we are going to use the conditional statement. The purpose of the conditional statement, some block of statements I want to execute as per my given expression true or false. For the purpose, we are going to use the conditional statement. Now, what I want to say that this is my expression. What I want to say that this expression is true, then only it has to execute. So I'm going to say like this. If A less than B, then message box A having smaller value. So up to here only, this is the block only I have. And if up to here only. This is one block going to fix. Now see that if I run, you won't get any output here. Why? We won't get any output. Condition false. When condition true, then only it allows to execute this portion of script. So this way, whenever we want to execute, we have to use some conditional statements for that. Condition based. Actually, execution means we have the three types of executions. One is sequential execution. So one by one step we want to execute. It's called sequential execution. The second one is condition based execution. Particular expression are going to give that expression true or false based, some block of statements are going to execute. That is conditional statement, conditional execution. The third one is iterative execution. Some portion of script multiple times you want to execute. Iterative execution are going to call. For the loop statements you have to use for the iterations purpose. Okay. That is the intention of the conditional statements. The third one, conditional statements. To execute block of statements in the script based on given condition true or false, we use following conditional statements. We use following conditional statements. First one is if condition. Second one else if. Third one is nested if. Nested if. Fourth one select case. Like switch case, here we have the select case. And don't take just sigma here. This is a simple if condition like this. If condition, then whenever this condition is true, then only it allows you to execute this block of statements. That is a simple if condition. Now that's what I use it here. If A less than B, suppose A value, I may give the 10 here. If I run, it will allow to execute that block of statements, whatever I written there, message box A having small value. Because the condition is true. If suppose A value is 30 I given, condition is false, if I run it won't allow that block of statements to execute. But something it has to say, even the condition true some statement, condition false some portion I have to execute. Further, what I can do here, if A less than B, then execute this one. Otherwise, means else. You can see. Message box or B having smaller value. B having smaller value like this. The execution flow you need to understand here. When the condition falls here, control comes to the else spot. This block of statements are going to execute. Now, A having smaller value, B having smaller value. Which value is small? That value I want to display. So I can say like this. Smaller value is, I want to concatenate. We can use ampersand or plus also we can use here. Yeah. Concatenation purpose we can use ampersand or plus is ampersand. So value I want to display. Small value is 20 showing that like this. Now suppose I have the three values are there. Among these three I want to find the smaller value. So now only one condition comparison is not sufficient. I need to check the two expressions are required to me to compare these values. A less than B and A less than C. A less than B and A less than C. Small value is A. Else, if B less than C, then message box small value is B. Still it is not there. Else, I can say message box of small value is NB. Now these two are not satisfied. It comes to the this block to execute. This is what nested if we are going to call. If within the if is there. So this condition is there within this if. So nested if we are going to call. The next thing. Now the syntax you have to see here. For select case. Here select case statement are going to call. In Web Java switch case we have. Here select case. Select case is useful to check multiple possible conditions at the same time to avoid nested if for more reliability. Same like nested if it is, but it makes easy and more reliability compared to the nested if. The syntax here select case expression case condition one. This expression matching this condition one, this block won't exist. So now suppose it may not satisfy this one, it will go to the second case condition going to check. So condition 1, condition 2, condition 3 not match. Then go for the case else. Else block going to execute. So default block like here case else we have. Now suppose I want to write a script like this. Display color name based on given character from RGB. During execution time, I want to give any one of the character from RGB. If I give the R, it has to say that it is red. If I give the G, green, B means blue, it has to display. So execution I want to give means, so for the purpose I need to use input box function. Use the input to read. So my color is the variable equal to input box of enter any one character from RGB. Now select case my color. If case is or message box of say that your choice is red. Case is MSC box say that your choice is green. MSC box choice is cases. Message box of say that invalid entity like this. Now if I run my script here and any one cat from RGB, it's G I am going to enter OK. So your choice is green, it's showing that. Now again I am going to run it. When I try to run, lowercase I given G. See what happens here? Invalid entity. Then what I need to do here, I may give the lowercase uppercase, right output has to display. So what I should do for that here? The expressions I given the uppercase or lowercase here? Uppercase. So I can say like this. UCase of my color. So if I run it is, even though I give the lowercase, it converts given string into the uppercase, right output we are going to get. UCase. If I use L case means it converts given string into the lowercase. Okay. So the conditional statements we have. The script also given here. Some examples, if you're interested, you can go to the example. The document I will send it. Okay. Next one.
Select case. We can give condition also. We give select the case. Then we give some value. We read from the user input. Instead, we can give condition also.
No, expression only hard. Expression we can give. Expression means we can't go for what we are expecting that only. Here it is the condition going to check.
My color is equal to input box of that we are getting from user. And then we will be looking at. Instead, if I have some condition, which returns -1, 0, 1, like that. So some string compares to something, it returns -1, 0, 1. I store it in one variable, right?
That variable directly have to give here.
So instead of giving that variable, can I give the condition?
Direct condition you can give. If return something value, the condition is some value, that value purpose you can give the expression here. Next one.
You showed that whenever we open action, by default that comment item will be displayed right after script.
Whenever we
open new script, header kind of
yes.
Some settings you showed
action template. That is action template. QTP dat folder we have to save it. Header folder. Header file also are going to. Okay. Next thing here, loop statements are iterative statements. To execute script multiple times, take one. Loop statements are iterative statements. A loop are iterative statements. Loop statements are iterative statements. So what is the purpose of these things here? To execute some block of statements multiple times. We can go for the loop statements. So what are the things we are going to use here, miss? We can use a while loop, we can use do while, we can use then for loop, we can use. Now see my here, one variable I'm taking n equal to 1 I given, n equal to 1 I given, while n less or equal to 1, then print of n I given. If I run my script, how many times it going to execute? N is then equal to 5 I will give. If I run my script here, how many times it going to execute? Infinity times it will go. Why? There is no increment specified in n variable. By default, n value always 1 only. Always the expression is true. So it go for the multiple. That means here, a while loop is going to execute script multiple times until given expression false. If it is false, then only it terminate. Otherwise, it allows to execute again and again. So I want to say that only 5 times I want to execute. So n equal to n plus 1 increment we have to specify. Okay. Now, so this is the case when you have the. This is the case when we have the doubt how the values are changing in the variables. We need to go for the breakpoint you have to use. See the values in the debug viewer, how the values are changing in the variables. So how to do the debugging? Use the breakpoint here where you want to break. Just to click breakpoint, run it. When you run, go to view, debug viewer we discussed, watch or variables. N value is 1. Okay. So first time iteration. Next iteration, what is the n value? Changing it because n equal to n plus 1 again. So like this, the debugging purpose, we can go for the debug how the values are changing in your variables. When you have a doubt, in that case you can go for like this. This is the while loop how we can use. Suppose n value I may go for the 5. If I run, how many times it's going to execute? Only one time it has to execute. See that? First time condition true or false? True, it is executed and output is going to display to you. Let me close it first. Only one time going to execute. If suppose n value I may go for the 6, then no output we are getting here. Because it check the condition, when it is false, it won't allow to execute the script. No output we are getting here. Now, irrespective of the expression, true or false, I want to execute the first block of statements. Then only I want to go for the condition to check. So for that, do what has to do? Print of n. N equal to n plus 1. Do while n less than or equal to 5. So here n value equal to 6 I given. Now what happens here? It comes here. There is no expression to check. It will go and execute this one, increase the value, and before going to next iteration, it will check the expression. Condition false, it won't go for the next iteration. So that is the difference between while loop to do while. The question is going to ask, what is the difference between do loop to while loop? So do loop first going to execute the script, then going to check the condition. Whereas while loop first check the condition, then only execute the block of statements. That's the difference is there. Now suppose if n value is 1, then what is the output? If n value is 1 means what is the output I am going to get? 1 to 5 I will get, or 1 to 6 I will get. 5 only going to get. Now, what I want to, if suppose n value is 3, so after that no need to display other values. I want to terminate the iterations here. I want to terminate the iterations. Break. Instead of break here, exit do we have to use. Exit do. So exit do when we want to execute the statement when n value equal to 3. So I can use if condition if n value to assign the value or to compare the value, single equal to only we have to use, not double equal to. If n value equal to 3, then exit do. Like break it is. Like 1, 2, 3. Now generally while loop or do while we are going to use based on the some expression how many iterations it has to take. We don't have any idea how many iterations are required. Based on some expression, suppose when I am going to read the values from the database, I don't know how many values are going to be. Until end of the records, I want to execute my script to read the each record from the database. In that case, we can go for the while or do while we are going to use. I know that 5 times I want to execute or 10 times I want a fixed number of iterations. In that case, instead of going to the while loop or do while, we are going to prefer the for loop. I want to execute 5 times. I want to execute no condition based. Fixed number of iterations I want to execute. I can go for the for loop we are going to use. Now, for I equal to 1 to 5. Step 1. Print of I. For I equal to 1, I means variable here. Iterator, any variable you can take. Iterations purpose I generally we are going to use. I equal to 1 initialization to up to where maximum number 5. I value reaches up to 5. Then what is this one step 1 increment? Increment how it has to take. After writing step space number you have to give. You are not given space means it is error. Step space number. Like this. Now here in place of step 1, if I give 2 means 2 increment has to take. That is the meaning. Step 2 means I value 1, then 3, 5, like this. I am not interested to give the step 1. It is an optional one. So I am not given step here. If I run, by default 1 increment is going to take. Even though I have not written the step here, by default 1 increment is going to take exponents. Like this. Only 1 increment. Now here also I want to break the execution. Then I value equal to 3. If I equal to 3, I equal to 3, then so exit for 1, 2, 3. So what is your doubt?
Can you change the default equal?
Default means?
One is the default.
Default meaning fixed one it is. You can't change it. Okay. That's the meaning, default mean. Now step 2 I given, that is customized one. The default one you can't change. Default one fixed one, that is the meaning. Okay. So that's the iterative statements. So try to do this simple examples so that you won't get any confusion on the loop statements condition. Those later we have to use the application level. First you got the familiarity about the syntax, then you can use it to the application level.
We will write if condition for if together. So we thought if block if I go exit for it will go the entire block or the particular if condition.
We'll see that. We have here also concept. We'll discuss it. The first we got the idea on this, then we go for that. That's what I introduced here. Later we are going to this application orientation. First we got the syntax on this loop statements, how it is going to execute. Then we are going to discuss that. So after that, fifth one you take. Variable declaration. Do you think variable declaration is mandatory in VB script? Sir, previous example,
No need to
It's not mandatory.
it is not mandatory. Previous examples I used directly variable, no? I said like this for I equal to, so I equal to 1 I said. And before examples I used that CNAME equal to input box. Directly I use variable. So variable declaration is not mandatory. So in VB script, other programming language it is mandate, but it's not mandate in the VB script. So that means here we have the implicit variable declaration in VB script. Implicitly considered as a variable. Okay. But as for the scripting standards, we have to declare the variables. Even though you are not declared, you're going to accept. But as for the standards, so we have to declare the variables. Okay. So how we can declare the variables? A syntax, a dim, a variable name. A variable name equal to data. Dim for dimensionality. Dim variable name. It's not in the same line assigning the value. In the next line only we have to assign the value for the variable. Dim variable name equal to data. So variable declaration in VB script, variable declaration is not mandatory. But as per the scripting standards, we are going to declare the variables. So when I'm going to declare the variables, the first line I need to declare the variables, and next line only we have to assign the value for the variable, not in the same line. Okay. So where it differs, other program to here, other program languages in VB script.
Language is so flexible, right? There are so many applied, how come this Selenium is overtaking?
Selenium is not overtake QTP, in my knowledge. QTP is evergreen and a well standardized one. So I never going to feel that Selenium is better than QTP.
No, it's not about better. In terms of usage, Selenium.
No, in terms of usage means like this. How China products coming more popular in India? There is no standards. Still they are popular because cheap, less cost. That's the only factor in my knowledge. Selenium is going to be there in the market. Otherwise, so QTP is evergreen. Standard company, the client is not going to never accept the open source tools for the automation testing. So QTP, even they are going to license tools. Now, alternative test company they are moving. Some companies now. To compared to QTP less cost. So Selenium is only market is a teaching market is there. So I don't think it is going to be in the equal to the job point of, only teaching point of Selenium is. So who are going to use the QTP? They know only 30% the company. What are the features are there in the QTP? They are not using more than 30% of features of the QTP. There are a lot of features are there. No one is working on that much. So
Main cause factor.
main cost factor, and a resource also who have already working on Java, they can easily adopt the Selenium concepts instead of QTP concept. Now, whatever we discussed last class, these all topics are not there in the Selenium. That but thinking is not required for the Selenium tester. Object repository, reusable, these all things are not there. So that is only they have. That's what this concept they implemented, copying into from the QTP page object model, no popular framework. They can take into one class like reusable. So alternate from this they are copy and paste in that one. That's what my feel. My personal feeling is QTP is first, second one only other tools. The one. Now, Mirpet market we are going to find like that. The Uchi training market is that they are going to highlight everywhere. If I go to my counseling also, so if you ask the testing to students, manual Selenium brochure only they are going to give for the students, freshers who came. They are not going to say the manual QTP brochure. The how students are going to buy that. So one trainer said that one trainer said that I find some defects in the QTP that the HP team is not accepted. That's why I'm not interested to teach the QTP. He said. The students are okay, believe that one, they are accepting that one. The situation is like that. Then some faculty misguiding the students also like that. So some faculty said that I find the help document I given for the QTP. He said. These are the things are going to be said for the student, misguiding the students like that. So CNAME, now we had dim CNAME equal to Smith I can give. Then I want to display the value here, message box of CNAME. Smith, value it is. But here, what type of value I send here? It is a string. If I given 450, is it going to accept or not? So when I'm going to declare the variable, I didn't specify the data type. You understand? Data type I am not specified. There is no syntax like that here. By default, in VB script, so it is a variant. It can hold any type of value. Variant means it can hold any type of value. Okay. This is one question. Default variable data type. When they ask you default variable data type, two things are there. In VB script, it is variant. It can hold any type of value. But in QTP, default variable data type is string. String. That means whenever it read the values from the AUT, by default consider as a string. From data type read, string one consider by default. But based on the arithmetic operators, it will go into decide whether it is a string or integer again. Boolean, double, like that going to consider it. Two things you have to note down. Default variable data type is variant in VB script. In QTP, it is string. In QTP, it is string. No, if you read the values generally from the application, I'm saying, or from data table. So at the time, last class, I think you seen that data table example when I shown that action global sheet. You ask the double integer. That is QTP choice we takes. But based on the operators which are going to give, based on going to consider it is an integer or string. Okay. Default variable data type in QTP is string when it read the values from the application. Okay. Now let us see my example dim input 1. Another variable also I want to take input 2. And I want to assign the values here. Input 1 is 10. Input 2 is 20. Then dim result. The result equal to input 1 multiplied with input 2. Then print a message box you want to use. Message box of a result. I want it. If I run my script, what is the output we will get? Intentionally, I misspell the variable here. Result I want to give, intentionally, I misspell the variable here. So when I run here, what will happen? So you observe that. Any message I got here, error message? No. So because in QTP, in VBA script, we have the implicit variable mechanism. You know that I misspell the variable. QTP doesn't know that. It considers a new variable. Already 3 we declare, this is a 4th variable to consider. This is the problem. You won't get an error message, undefined variable. You are not getting here. It considers a new variable. It's the implicit variable mechanism. In order to overcome that one, we have to go for the variable declaration mandatory in the script. Variable declaration mandate in the script. How we can do? See here. See here. Notes I will give that much notes. Try to understand here. The option explicit we have to use. When I written option explicit, it makes the variable declaration mandatory. It won't allow this type of variables. Now, generally, why we are going to use variables? To hold some value. So whenever you want to reuse the same value, different places in your script, instead of taking that value again and again, so we are going to take into the one variable, and that variable we are going to reusability of the data in our class or method variables we are going to use. There is a possibility when we are going to reuse the variable, you may misspell the variable. Whenever you misspell the variable, in VB script, implicit considers a new variable. You won't get any error messages. That will be a problem. That to overcome, make the variable declaration mandatory in the script. How? Using option explicit. So why we have to do the variable declaration mandatory means this is the reason. Okay. Sixth one, take like this. Option explicit. Take the sixth one, option explicit. Using this statement, we can make variable declaration. We can make variable declaration mandatory in the script. In the script. In the script. Text syntax. Syntax. Option explicit. Then dim variable name. Next line variable name equal to data. But make sure option explicit statement should be written first line in your script. It should be first line in your script.
With an option explicitly waiting for the login box. So it will detect all the
Yes, that's what first then if you write entire script going to be applicable.
It drops on.
Constants declaration. Constants declaration. To maintain fixed value in the script, we can use constants. Syntax, constant name equal to data. In one line, we have to do this whole thing: declaration and assigning the value. You try this one at home and tell me what happens. Do it and tell me in next class. But I give a syntax that we have to follow. Okay? But try it, it applicable, okay. Generally, it should not do. You don't accept that. Okay? It won't accept variable. Constant, this is the syntax. Syntax means, so which can be understandable by that language. That only you have to use. Okay. Team. Scene A equal to okay, it won't accept that syntax error. So div A, then A equal to 10. So there's a variable declaration we have to do in one line. Assign value for the variables, next line we have to do. Now if I go for A equal to 20, then message box of A. So here what is the output I will get? 10. Here what is the output I will get? What I will get? 20 I will get. That means the value will be over. Okay. 20 like this. Now constant B equal to 30. Message box of B. Then B equal to 40. Message box of B. Ten, 20, 30. Now what next we are expecting? Error message going forward because illegal assignment. Already you said I want to constant. Then why you are trying to change the value? Ask. So there is a constant. It won't allow to change the value during runtime. Variable means it allows to change the value. Okay. There's a difference which they are going to ask in interview. Okay. Here, so A when I assign my here, let's see here, when A I assign here, what will happen? A when I declared, some memory is going to be allotted for the variable. Some memory is going to be allotted. So in that, I said 10 means 10 is going to be saved like this. If I go for other variable also B, some memory is going to allotted, a value is going to be stored like this. Now same data type values are there. Instead of taking the multiple variables, the same address, we can store the multiple values based on our requirement. 20. Like this, that. You can go like this. So this type of declaration where we are going to call arrays, we are going to call the arrays concept. No, but how we can address this value? You have to go for index. A of 0, A of 1, A of 2. So this is the array declaration. Array declaration. To maintain multiple values in the same address based on index, we use arrays. For fixed array declaration. For fixed array declaration. Array of size. Size equal to number of values minus 1. Size equal to number of values minus 1. In Java, number of values you have to give. 3 was 3. Here minus 1 you have to give. L bound. It will return lower boundary of an array. Which is always 0. U bound. It will return upper boundary of an array. Suppose if I give Tim A of 2, A of 1, how many values I can store? 2 values I can store. So A of 0 equal to mind A of 1 equal to systems. To read that values, I can go for message box of A of 0. It will return mind MSC box of A of 1 systems. So if I run it is MindCube systems. Now instead of writing message box A of 0, message box A of 1, maybe if I go for 2 here, then A of 2, yes or no. Then 3 times I need to write here. Instead of writing that many times, I can use for loop. For I equal to 0 to maximum 2 if I give. A of I if I give. MindQ, Systems, SR Nagar. Why 2 it is? Why 2 it is the size of an array. So U bound of A also we can write. Then 0, you can say L bound of A. L bound of A is 0 it is. U bound size. So again same output I am going to get. Instead of that, there is another concept here we can use. For each we can use to read the values from an array. For each X in A, message box of X. X is the collection variable. So how many values are there? That many times the for each is going to execute. Each iteration one by one value is going to read. That value where it is going to store is X variable. MindQ, Systems, SR like this. Okay. Now for each likes. If I go for message box of A of 0, output is MindQ I am going to get. Here I give her only one machine. Later I want to assign the value message box of A of 2 I want to get. Will I get the SR Nagar? We'll see that MindQ display. So what is saying that subscript out of range? Because I declared that when I want to store only 2 values, I'm trying to go for the third value here. Subscript is out of range. Maybe I want to change the size of an array. The middle I want to change the size of an array. If I go for dim A of 2 if I give. So is it going to accept or not? We'll see that. No. So 2 times you are defining the array saying that. Because dim array of size, when I declared, this is what the fixed array declaration I said. We can't change the size of an array during runtime. Now we have the another syntax here. Dynamic array declaration. Dynamic array declaration. Redeem of array name of size. Redeem of array name of size. Now what I should do here, beginning itself I should write redeem. Here also you can go for redeem. If I run. MindQ. Yes, it allowing it. Now after this here, message box of A of 1 if I give. What is the output here? Systems. Now you observe that MindQ, SR Nagar, What is the output I got? No output is given for us. Whenever I redefine an array size, already existing values are cleared. When I redefine here array size, these values are removed from your array. Now I want to maintain those values. Maintain means I want to maintain means preserve. We have to use that word, preserve. When I'm going to redefine array size, use the preserve keyword so that it will maintain the existing values. Mind you, SR Nagar systems like this. This is one of the things where they are going to ask that. How do you maintain the existing values in a variable while redefining an array size? Means you have to say preserve is the keyword we have to use for that. This is the about VBA script concept. With that, we can do some validations in application. So how we can do that? That we are going to discuss. Take 10 minutes break, then continue the remaining topic.